Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Deck, and if you enjoy talking about gaming in any way, shape or form, you're going to feel right at home here. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing my thoughts and my personal reactions to the just debuted Xbox Game Showcase, which is something that we've been waiting for a couple of months now since the extremely disappointing and underwhelming first Xbox Game Showcase of the year back in May. I was excited about this one because I felt like this was going to be the show where Microsoft were really going to come out and show the big exclusives. We knew that they were going to be leading this conference with Halo Infinite, and I thought with that in tow, I thought we were going to get some really cool looking exclusives and some really good looks at what the studios, Xbox Game Studios, have been getting up to. But now that we've watched the show and looking back on it, it wasn't quite that, was it? So as I mentioned, the show did kick off with Halo Infinite and we got our first gameplay demo. Now, I mean, I'm not a fan of Halo personally. Like, I have played about half of the games and it's just never been a franchise that's really, gravitated towards me. It's never been something I've had a personal connection to. But I was excited to see Halo Infinite in this show because I wanted to see how Halo was going to look on a next-gen console, of course. While this is coming out on the Xbox One, this will also be coming out on the Xbox Series X. So I was excited to see what it was going to look like. And this gameplay demo, man, like, it was just nothing. Like, I think that this gameplay demo, like, I just want to prepare you, like, this is going to be a pretty negative video, and I don't want to, like, completely dick on the whole show. Like, if you enjoyed the conference and, you enjoyed everything that was shown, that's great. Like, I wish I could have been, with you on that. I was excited about the show. But anyway, going back to Halo, like, it just looked so like Halo. Like, it just looked, and I know that's an odd complaint. Like, well, what do you expect? It's Halo. It looks like Halo. But it just didn't look any different to any of the previous Halo games. Like, graphically, the game honestly looked kind of worse than some of the other Halo games, particularly Halo 5, and I don't know if it's just because they've gone for this more cartoony looking graphic style, which I think it was intentional, but again, like, if you're going with Halo Infinite as, like, your big launch title for Series X, which it is going to be, I was expecting something a bit more from that, and I felt like this gameplay demo, again, it just looked so much like Halo. Like, there wasn't really much new to it. There wasn't much different to it. They had the grappling hook mechanic, which looked pretty interesting, but that's not exactly something new to Halo in regards to, like, Halo didn't originate the grappling hook idea, so it was just a bit of a weird one for me, like, to start off with. I was excited to see Halo Infinite, even though I'm not a particular big Halo fan, but even just looking at it as a whole, like, that was a disappointing reveal. Then the next trailer we got was the reveal for State of Decay 3. Now, I've got to say, this trailer was really cool, actually. I really liked this trailer a lot. Like, this looked next-gen, and it looked really exciting and really fun. I've never played State of Decay before. Maybe I should delve in. I'm sure it's on Game Pass. I mean, I'm kind of in two boats with this, because when I was seeing this trailer, I was like, oh, this looks like State of Decay, but it could be something new. And then it was revealed to be State of Decay 3, and I was like, why can't Microsoft just do something original and do something new? Like, I get the fact that they have established IPs, and I get the fact that they want to, continue with those audiences, but at times you also have to innovate a bit and do some new IPs, and some new games, and some new ideas, and I felt like that's what this was going to be, and then it was just like, oh, it's State of Decay 3, and I was like, great. But, I mean, to be fair, this trailer was really cool, it looked great, but I don't know if it's particularly representative of the game itself or the gameplay, so it's kind of a mixed bag with that one. We then got for the reveal for Forza Motorsport, which I'm a big Forza fan. I do enjoy the Forza games a lot, both Motorsport series and the Horizon series. This is developed by Turn 10, so this is the next step in the Motorsport series. Now, this was interesting. It's just called Forza Motorsport. I don't know if that's just a working title or if they are kind of doing like a reboot. Not that you can really reboot Forza, but, it's going to be like a reimagining or whatever for the new generation. But, I mean, this trailer looked really great. You always have to show off a racing game for your new consoles. Like, obviously, Xbox will have Forza, PlayStation 5 has got Gran Turismo 8. So, you've got that, so that's really cool. And even though this trailer didn't show much, it is one of my favourite things shown just because I'm a big fan of Forza, but it wasn't particularly surprising or that exciting just because with Forza, you know what you're getting. Now, Obsidian has been very busy because not only are we getting a new expansion for the Outer Worlds, which, it's kind of one of the first single-player DLCs for the Outer Worlds. I played the Outer Worlds, it was okay. But they also are developing this much smaller game called Grounded, which is like a multiplayer survival game. It looked, I mean, it was a very self-aware trailer, which I enjoyed, but it just didn't really look like much for me, personally. But they did also announce their actual next big RPG, which we've been waiting for a while. We've been waiting to see what Obsidian has actually been working on as the Xbox exclusive RPG, and they revealed it. It's called Avowed. Looks pretty cool, I'm not going to lie. It's not really something that I'm particularly interested in, but I know a lot of people will love this. And I think that this is one of the biggest standouts of the show. Like, the trailer was really cool that they showed. It just didn't really, gravitate towards me personally, because I'm not really an RPG guy. Like, many people know this. I'm not really a big fan of RPGs necessarily. It's not my genre. But, you know, it's really cool to actually have Obsidian finally reveal this game and to actually show it off to people. And again, like Obsidian, they've been doing a lot recently, like with the Outer Worlds, the DLC, the Grounded game, and then also this. Like, they have been busy, so fair play to Obsidian. We also got a look at the game called Everwild, which looked okay. This actually looked kind of cute, but also, again, not really my sort of thing. But I can get why some people would get behind this, and I can see why a lot of people would be attracted to this game. It's just not really for me personally. We also got a look at the game Tell Me Why, which is the next game from Don't Nod Studios, who are the guys behind the Life is Strange series. Again, it's not really my sort of thing. Like, Life is Strange is obviously kind of very derivative of the Telltale series and the Telltale games. It's just not really my kind of thing. And again, this game didn't look particularly impressive to me. So I feel so negative just like going on all these games. But I'm just saying my personal opinion. It just didn't really look like much for me. But again, I'm sure there are some people, like, I know Life is Strange has a huge fan base. A lot of people really like that game. So I'm sure a lot of those people will be excited for this new game from this developer. There was also a new look at a game called The Medium, which was like a dual reality horror, psychological horror game. Looked very cool, actually. This is one of the better looking games, I think, out of this lineup. I did enjoy the trailer for this. Again, I'm not sure if it's something I would actually play, but I do actually like this. It does look good. It looks interesting enough. And again, it actually looks kind of original and kind of fun. So, you know, I think, you know, if this is coming to Game Pass, which I think it is, I think, yeah, every single one of these games is coming to Game Pass. It's something I could check out. Then we got a game called The Gunk, which, again, it just didn't really do much for me. Like, I didn't really care for it. Same goes with Tetris Effect Connected. I can't believe they had a whole gameplay reveal for a Tetris game in a big, what is essentially one of their E3 shows for the year. Again, it's just one of those things, like, I don't really know why Tetris is being used to sell, you know, the Series X, but whatever, each to their own, I guess. Then we got Warhammer 40,000 Darktide. This is a new Warhammer game. This looked okay. Again, not particularly impressive. It's just the trailer. We didn't really get much, like, we didn't get much gameplay in this show. That's the problem. We got a lot of trailers, but not a lot of gameplay. And for this, like, the trailer looked cool, but again, it's hard to really get a grasp on what the game is actually like, because it's just the trailer for now. Stalker 2. Now, I actually didn't know this was a sequel. When I was watching the trailer, I actually thought this looked really good, though. I actually really like the look of this trailer. Again, no gameplay, but from the trailer alone, the concept, it looks really cool. And I didn't actually know this game existed. Like, I didn't know this was a sequel to anything, so I've never heard of Stalker before. But I think that this trailer itself looked really cool. I'm excited about it. And it did look like a lot of fun, so I'm down for kind of like a post-apocalyptic kind of horror game. Look kind of Metro-esque. So a really fun-looking game, and I'm definitely interested in that one. So again, when it comes to Game Pass, I would definitely check this one out. Destiny 2 made an appearance for people who are still playing that game. Destiny 2, like, obviously this is the new expansion Beyond Light that we've known about for a while, and it's basically been announced that it is coming to Series X, so people can carry on their characters and things like that and play it on next generation, which is cool. I do know that Destiny 2 does have a pretty devoted fan base, even though it's not as big as it once was, it is still there. So, you know, it's pretty cool, but again, it's just, for a big showcase like this for the Series X to kind of give us a look at the Destiny 2 DLC, I was just like, okay, whatever. It's just kind of weird. Like, I know Bungie obviously is beloved by Xbox fans. They are the original developers of Halo, but it's just kind of weird to me to, like, show a Destiny 2 expansion in this particular show. I felt like that was something that probably Bungie could have highlighted themselves, and it probably would have gotten a bit more of a reaction, a bit more traction than just chucking it in the middle of this Microsoft conference. Double Fine gave us a new look at Psychonauts 2 with Jack Black actually doing the music over the top of it. I didn't actually know Jack Black was a singer. I learned that during this. I didn't know that. But yeah, I mean, again, Psychonauts 2, like, I know a lot of people are excited about this, and obviously Double Fine is a very well-respected studio. A lot of people like Tim Schafer. So again, this has definitely got an audience. For me personally, though, once again, it's just not really for me. As Dusk Falls was an interesting looking one. It kind of had this really interesting kind of stop-motion-y storybook art style, which is interesting. I mean, it's different. It's definitely not something I've seen before. So I was definitely interested with this. It kind of, you know, it was being described as an interactive drama, which kind of reminds me of like a Quantic Dream game, you know, something along the lines of Heavy Rain or Beyond Two Souls, where they're very much story-driven, character-driven games that are very much drama-orientated, but you kind of, you know, play little sections here and there. So I'm thinking maybe is this Microsoft trying to get in with that? So could be interesting, could be cool. Again, it might not work, but, you know, because sometimes those games from Quantic Dream just don't work for some people. Like, some people find them a bit too passive and just don't really find much enjoyment out of them, which I can get behind. But, you know, if this works out for Microsoft, this could be a pretty interesting project for them. We also got a look at Crossfire X, which I think is coming from Remedy. This looks really cool. I actually really like the look of this. We did know about this game beforehand, but I think it actually looks really fun. A really good-looking first-person shooter with some interesting elements to it. And we actually got some gameplay of this one as well, and it looked pretty solid, so I'm definitely interested in this one for sure. And the final thing to talk about is how they ended the show, which was the reveal of Fable. This is quite possibly the worst kept secret in the history of Xbox. We kind of already knew that Playground Games, who of course is the developer of the Forza Horizon series, who were recently acquired by Microsoft, that they were developing a new entry in the Fable series. This appears to be a reboot. It's just called Fable from what we can see. This isn't Fable 4 or whatever, but I mean, sure, I think that, you know, Fable is not a franchise I'm particularly interested in, but I am happy that Playground, which is a studio I do like, given the fact that they did develop the Forza Horizon series, which is my favourite series of Xbox exclusives, believe it or not. I'm happy that they are, you know, they're being given this big budget to go and revitalize this fan favorite Xbox franchise. Like, a lot of people do love Halo, oh, not Halo, Fable, and, you know, a lot of them were burned by Fable Legends and how that never came out and things like that, so it's nice for them to finally get this big reboot for Fable and finally get the game they were waiting for, and for a studio like Playground to take it on, I think they are in very safe and very capable hands, so I'm excited to see what they're going to do with it. Again, it's not a game for me. I don't really care about Fable. Like, fantasy RPGs, definitely not my thing. Like, RPGs is one thing, but fantasy RPGs, definitely not my genre. The only game in the fantasy RPG genre I've ever enjoyed is Skyrim. I really like Skyrim, but other than that, I've never been interested in this sort of thing. But again, I'm really happy for a lot of people, because I know a lot of people will be really happy and really excited about this. And again, I'm mostly happy because Playground is getting something really cool here. So if you're excited about Fable, I'm really glad that you got this revealed, even though we already kind of knew about it, but it was still really cool to see it actually revealed as the big closing out game. So, as you can probably tell, I wasn't a huge fan of this conference overall. It was just a bit... It was just very underwhelming. I was kind of just sat there throughout the entire thing, just not being enthused by anything. Because again, as much as I love the Forza franchise, and we got the new Forza reveal, which was good, it's just Forza. Like, I know what I'm going to get with Forza, and I know it's going to look amazing and stuff like that. Like, Forza has always been that game. And then in terms of, like, other stuff in the show, it just didn't really live up to it. Like, even Halo Infinite, like, the gameplay demo was just flat for me. And all the other game reveals, there were a couple of coolish things, like I said, like the Medium, Stalker 2, Crossfire X, they all looked kind of good, but there was nothing that stood out to me as being like, wow, that was great, like that was the standout of the show, and I really want to buy a Series X now. Like, I haven't got that. Like, I've already decided I'm not buying a Series X at launch, but I was hoping that perhaps Microsoft would maybe try and convince me otherwise, to maybe try and buy a Series X closer to launch than I'm planning to. But this show just didn't do that. They did say at the very end of the show that they have got another Xbox Game Showcase planned for later on in the year, and that is where they're going to really dive into the Xbox Game Studios, which, I mean, that's what I was hoping with this one, but we didn't get that. So, again, I'm not going to completely, throw away Microsoft quite yet, because I do want to see what Xbox Game Studios have been working on. Like, they put so much time and effort into acquiring all these studios. I want to see what that work is doing. Like, I want to see that pay off, and I want to see these potentially new IPs. I mean, there have been a lot of rumors that these Microsoft studios are, like, bringing back a lot of franchises. Like, also, we've seen that with Fable here. Apparently, Perfect Dark is being rebooted with their new studio, The Initiative. And as I said when I was talking about State of Decay 3, I do wish Microsoft would give us some fresh new IPs. Like, I get that, again, these franchises have established fan bases. I get that name recognition is important, but I also think keeping yourself with fresh new ideas is also very essential to keeping your consoles alive. And I know Phil Spencer has spoken about, recently, that he doesn't really feel like console exclusives are good for the industry, and he doesn't feel like they're good for consumers. And while there is an argument to be made with that, I also feel like, Microsoft haven't really had good exclusives this generation. Like, if I'm being perfectly honest, the ones they have had have just been, again, the same old things. It's Halo, it's Forza, it's Gears. They've not really had anything new or innovative. Like, when you look at Sony, obviously we've had Spider-Man, which obviously I know Spider-Man isn't like a new IP technically, but it is game-wise. So we had that, and we had Horizon Zero Dawn, which was a huge success, and even God of War, which is an established franchise, was completely different. With the new iteration of God of War, it was completely different. And, even we have had, like, we've literally just had Ghost of Tsushima released as well from Sucker Punch. So, like, Sony have kept with these fresh new IPs, and it's been very successful for them. Microsoft just haven't had that this generation. So I really want to see them really come out. And I do think exclusives are good for the industry, because you know, it promotes competition. It allows these big publishers to compete with one another. If one of them releases a fantastic game on their console that they can only get, they have to react and come back with an even better game to combat that. So I think, you know, Phil Spencer's kind of, I would disagree with Phil Spencer in that. You know, I think that there are actually reasons to have exclusives, and I think they do promote good competition within the industry. So I really hope that Microsoft do bring out some new, fresh IPs from their Xbox Game Studios, but we'll have to wait and see. Again, they didn't give a specific date for this new show, but it'll be within the next... I imagine it'll probably be maybe in September. I think that's probably when it'll be. This one was 2 months apart from the other one, so I imagine it'll be the same. So I reckon around September, and then we'll probably be about 2 months away from the Series X launch. So yeah, again, I didn't love this show. I was a bit underwhelmed by it. It wasn't that exciting for me personally. If you really enjoyed it though, I'm really happy for you. Again, I wanted to like this. I was excited about it. It just didn't really do anything for me personally. Like, I kind of came away from it just being like, whatever. Like, nothing really exciting, but that's just me. But what did you guys think about the show? Make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Did you enjoy this Xbox Game Showcase, or were you underwhelmed by it? And what was your favourite thing about the show? Make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, if you want to see more gaming content like this, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any uploads from me. And I hope to see you guys again next time.